You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Hello, this is Joe with a bit of a note about the episode you're about to listen to. When we recorded it, there was a audio problem that I did not catch, so the audio quality, while not the worst ever, is also not the best ever. So, sorry about that. We had a pretty rough week that week, so please be gentle with us. We'll try to make sure that future episodes are the quality that you come to expect and deserve from us, quite frankly. Anyway, enjoy the invasion of time. Bye! Hi, I'm Joe Heath.
I'm Toni Heath.
And this is the Watch-A-Thon of Rassilon.
Mm-hmm.
Today we're going to be talking about the 6th and final serial of the 15th season of Doctor Who, The Invasion of Time, which consists of 6 episodes that aired from February 4th, 1978 to March 11th, 1978.
True facts!
And I want to give a special shout out to Matt Golden for sponsoring this episode.
Hey, thanks, Matt.
You're welcome.
What?
Holy
It's
shit.
all been building to this.
This is the finale.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It'll be over after this one.
You can follow him on Tumblr at mgoldentumbles.tumblr.com. And that's all he's going to do. That's it. He's gone.
Special guest star. They paid a lot of money for the season finale to bring me in.
Matt, tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, and all that jazz.
Long-time listener, first-time caller. I work at this place that makes TV. You guys may be familiar with it. And we run Doctor Who. That's a thing we do.
That's true. Pretty sure that's why you hired Toni in the first place. Can you confirm that?
It did not hurt. Because I believe this podcast was already extant before you came in and interviewed Toni. And we were like, hey, so yeah, you're like sitting underneath a Doctor Who poster here in our conference room.
I do remember, that you asked, what do you know about our network already? And I was like, I know you guys run Doctor Who. That's it. And then after a while, I was like, oh, that was the right answer?
We asked this of all our new guests. How much Doctor Who have you seen, experienced, that includes bonus stuff like comics or whatever, any of that Big Finish stuff?
Okay. I've seen all of the new series, and that's actually how I got into it. A few friends on Facebook, this was, I think, around the midpoint of Matt Smith's run. They started talking about how good it was, and it was something that was always very intimidating because it had such a lengthy history to it. But I read up on it and found that the 2005 reboot was a good place to jump in. Actually, my wife at the same time, unbeknownst to me, started it, so we were both watching it on Netflix, but not together. And then at some, 2 or 3 episodes in, we got together and were like, hey, there's this show on Netflix that you should probably watch. And we realized that we were both watching Doctor Who, so we just started watching it from that point on.
Aww.
As far as the past series goes, I've seen chunks of every Doctor except for 5 and 6. So,
have you seen The Invasion of Time?
I have seen The Invasion of Time. I've seen The Invasion of Time several months ago at this point. That was roughly 17 years ago. Thanksgiving was roughly 17 years ago. So this is all new to me.
We'll see how that goes.
I have notes of the first time I watched it, and I still remember nothing. So it's actually playing right here. We've got a screen set up, and we're playing it right now.
Yeah, this is a nice setup.
Yeah, we should do this all the time. So have you done any spin-off stuff, or?
I've listened to some Big Finish stuff. I've read some comics. I haven't gotten all the way through them, but I've got the Panini run of the 8th Doctor's comics. I've got some spin-off stuff. I am actually, I think, one of the 7 people that enjoyed Class.
We're the other 2.
Yeah.
We've got like a good 60% of its entire audience right here in this room. I've watched some Sarah Jane Adventures. I watched some of Torchwood. I didn't get to what people generally consider good Torchwood, Children of Earth, because the characters were just unlikable. Like, it on paper should be right up my alley, and it just didn't click with me. I have managed to get all of the classic series on DVD, and at some point I'm going to watch all of them.
Nice.
That has not happened yet.
Well, you have a podcast to listen along to.
Yeah.
While you do it. You were like sort of instrumental in Retro TV getting Doctor Who, right?
Yes. We were looking for new old shows to run on our classic TV channel. And since I was a fan of the newer incarnation of the show, I thought it would be a good candidate for it. So I looked around, nobody else was running it, and I talked to the upper management at the company, and they said if you can find who has it and get it for a good price, go for it. It took about a year, but I was able to get in touch with the BBC, wrangle all of the legal stuff around it, and we went on air in August of, I want to say, 2014 with 495 episodes.
Nice.
Of the classic show.
Is there any other station that airs that? Or is there any that airs that many?
No. Once upon a time, Sci-Fi Channel had it back in the 80s, I think. A lot of people in the States came to it through PBS, had a deal that they ran it for a long time. But now it's much more scattershot. They don't have national coverage of it anymore. So there are still some PBS stations, a few dotted around the country that'll run it. But Retro TV has the biggest collection of it in the country that's available for airing. Really happy and proud of that.
So watch that. We all work there.
Yeah. That's an indirect way to continue to sponsor the podcast.
Keep us employed.
Keeping the day jobs going.
So let's segue out of the past and into the present and also the future.
Okay.
First, I want to get a quick story out of what happened this weekend, and then we'll move on to more happy things.
Okay. I request that you do it quickly.
I will do it quickly. First off, we went and saw the McElboys.
Yeah.
We went and saw My Brother, and Me. And that was super fun.
It was a really good show.
It was a great show. And that was in Birmingham, and we stayed the night in Birmingham. And we got an Airbnb, and then the next morning we went to leave, and we got held up at gunpoint and had our car stolen. So that's a fun life thing that happened.
Brian, this was like 2 days ago.
Yeah, it was Friday.
Friday means nothing.
Well, yeah.
You're gonna take a couple weeks to edit this and then post it a couple weeks after that. Friday's a meaningless thing to say.
Right. Okay, but it's Sunday now. So it was 2 days ago.
It was 2 days ago.
You can look up and see when My Brother and Me were in Birmingham. It's the next day. February 8th? Sure, that sounds right. I want to quickly say we're okay.
Everyone's fine.
We didn't really lose anything too important. Tony's wallet was in there, but I do also want to say Tony is kind of a badass.
Well,
kind of stupid, but also kind of a badass.
Stupid.
I think the line there is the success of the act. That's the differentiating factor.
It didn't help. It didn't work.
So there were 2 people. There's one person who had a gun, one person who didn't. The person who had a gun left in his own car, and the person who didn't left in our car.
In my car.
Yeah, and Tony was like, that's my car. You can't take our car. So what did you do?
I got into the car.
As it was moving away, confusing the woman driving it.
Good.
But eventually she started swerving and stuff and saying she's going to wreck the car. So Tony's like, slow down and let me out. So she did. But you jumped in the car, and I was left alone on the street like, what the fuck is happening? It was a crazy, crazy day.
It sucks. It sucks. We're joking, but it sucks.
And this is also happening in the middle of, we're buying a new house.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
We have a lot of life stuff happen. So now, and you can't you're not supposed to take out loans.
We might need to take out a car loan.
When you're doing housing loans and all that stuff. And also we're like doing the paperwork with the insurance.
It's made everything crazy.
It's on top of like doing all the normal crazy stuff you do to move a house. So the house isn't going anywhere. We're physically moving to a new house.
See, I feel like maybe things would have worked out differently if you had explained this to the people who were stealing it from you and just said, hey, can you maybe mug somebody that's not in the middle of buying a house? This is really, really troublesome.
That's what
It's
people
really
were like,
inconvenient.
what were you going to do once you got in the car? Like, did you fight her? And I was like, no, you can't hit people. That's against the rules, too. But, like...
You should have said that. I'm not going to hit you because it's against the
It's
rules.
against the
You know
rules.
what else is against the rules? Stealing people's vehicles.
And that's what I was like, I don't know if I thought I would just be like, hey, you can't do that. And she would be like, oh, you're right. I'm sorry, my bad. And then, like, get out? I don't know.
I don't know either. Okay, so that's the bad thing. The good thing, which we have Matt on to talk about as well.
Oh, yeah.
Just another life thing that's happening in the moment, which is very good and very exciting.
We've talked about it a little bit on the show before, but it's going to premiere this Friday, and it is this Friday.
This is a fixed point in time.
Yeah,
This Friday is relative to you listening to the podcast in this moment.
March 1st. The Unseen World will be premiering on the Heartland Network, which is under the same umbrella that Retro TV is under.
Right, it's a sister network of Retro TV. It's the younger, hipper, cooler sibling. But for anyone who can watch it on the Heartland Network live, that would be awesome. And if you can't, don't feel bad, but you can make it up to us by watching it on your Roku. We have a free Heartland Roku channel, and we're going to be putting it up for VOD and streaming it live. So if you have a Roku and Heartland's not in your area, you can still watch it live at 8 p.m. Eastern, period. We don't time shift that, so if you're in California and want to watch it live, which you need to do, clearly, you'll need to leave work early, account for the traffic, and be home by 5 p.m.? I can't math.
That's right.
Okay, 5 p.m. in California time. And there are other states that share it too, but that's clearly the largest one. So
Can you still watch it if you're, like, not in America?
no, I don't think so.
Okay. Well, sorry.
Just talk to me.
Yeah.
I know some people.
Yeah, we could probably get you a hookup.
But, yeah. Watch that. Again, support our day job.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't watch it, you have no excuse. It's on Roku. It's on...
Right.
It's...
You can stream it live as it airs on the website, watchheartlandtv.com. And also, like, everybody and their brother has a Roku. So,
Yeah.
And they're cheap. Support us by going and plunking down $25 for a Roku stick.
Also, they're nice.
Yeah, you can watch, like, Netflix and stuff. I mean, primarily us.
You
but
can-
also, like, Hulu and Netflix and the also-rans like that.
And you can play Angry Birds on it if you really want to.
That's true, you can. There are games that you can download for it. They're not fun, though. You're just like, this is more difficult than it needs to be because I'm playing it on a television device and not a video. It's not really a proper video game. You got a remote, and that's how you're moving people.
There used DirecTV, I think it was DirecTV, used to have games on their thing. My grandmother had it, and I would play this one game that's called Carrot Mania. I loved the shit out of that game. That's all I would do when I was over at my grandmother's. You had to go around and collect little carrots, and you used it with your TV remote. Not all TV remote games are bad.
All right.
Carrot Mania.
Carrot Mania.
There'd be little gophers after you, and you could stomp on the ground to make the ground go away and trap them in there. It was great. I loved it. Anyway.
That feels like Sony Pictures will be making an animated movie of it in, like, 5 years.
We've talked about the Unseen World. I don't know if I've ever given, like, a good pitch of what it is on the show before.
Well, go. Do it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right, we'll make the guest do it.
Oh, no. I don't have the marketing material that we co-wrote, and I should know what it says.
There's real good stuff in it.
Yes.
Here's the thing. Every time I write something for it, I'm like, it show about thing? Real good. Should see it. That's how every first draft I write starts.
We know it. You should simply know it, too. Don't rely on us to convey it to you. Basically, we wanted to make a show where there are sites around the country that have interesting, weird, cool, unique stories to them. Some of them are roadside attractions. Some of them are artistic installations. Some of them are just weird shit. We have a mix of all three, but it's basically any kind of cool story that we find interesting that has some sort of geographical artifact remaining for it.
Yeah, it's the idea that there's all this stuff that's like nearby you that you could go to that has these sort of stories behind them. So like the first episode is Howard Finster's Paradise Garden, which is, I really like it. I love the first episode, but it's
a folk art environment.
Yeah. Joe and I didn't realize, we'd been there a couple times before the show, we didn't realize like how close it was to us, and like when we went and we kind of got the story of how it got built and stuff, I was like, that is like a really interesting thing to be like within driving distance of me. There was like a point in time during this year where it was like, well, what else is near us? And so we just, I would pull up Road Trippers, and anytime we would take a trip, I would find what's in between here and there and stop. And like all these places had like really interesting, fascinating stories, and I had never stopped and I had never heard of any of them before. And so that's part of what the show is like. Yeah,
we, just for budgetary reasons, we've restricted our search, at least for the first season, to things that are roughly in driving distance. It may be a long drive, but within driving distance. And we have almost filled the entire season with places that are within driving distance that we didn't know about before we started doing the show. Most of them we didn't. Mm-hmm. And they're just fascinating sights that people don't realize are in their backyards.
I have helped out a little bit. I've helped edit it, but like just watching everything, I'm like, I just get like wrapped up in it. I'm like, oh, this is a good show. And I'm like not even aware, like cognizant of the fact that I'm kind of a part of it. Yeah. So it's like, it's just good on its own, It's not like when I'm watching something I made and I'm like, oh God.
Well, like, imposter syndrome's a bitch. But even still, like, I know this is a good show.
Yeah.
Like, in spite of the fact that I made it. It's a good show.
I think the thing for me was when I sent the rough cut of the first episode to my parents, and they weren't just like, oh man, we're real proud of you, that's real good. They were like, this is a good show. Like, they were like, when does it come out? I want to see the next one. Like, they were interested in it, not as like my parents, but just as people.
The one that I always love getting back is, this looks professional. Wow.
No shit.
Thank you.
Because of all the professional work I did on it. Anyway, that's the Unseen World. Yes. You should please watch it.
Yep, and follow it on all of the socials. And when I say all, I mean really 3. Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We sometimes forget Twitter, but mainly the other 2. It's See Unseen World on all 3 of them. So it's facebook.com/See Unseen World, twitter.com/ or at See Unseen World, and whatever Instagram uses is also See Unseen World.
There's usually something.
Do we need an Instagram?
What, us as a podcast?
Yeah.
Probably.
Guys, should we get an Instagram?
What would we put on it?
I don't know. Pictures of Tom Baker.
I would say the Instagram for Unseen World, I would try to use that whenever we're like on a shoot or something and, come across something kind of cool. Like, what shoot was it that we ended up at the Kentucky Fried Chicken Museum? Was that West Virginia?
Yeah, Point Pleasant, West Virginia, when we went to investigate the Mothman.
Yeah.
We also wound up at the very first KFC.
So, like, we find weird stuff like that even when we're not, like, we weren't there for the show. It's just, that's how road trips work. Like,
question, did they have, like, the bones of the very first chicken?
Like, on display?
Yeah, like a skeleton of the very first chicken that they Kentucky fried.
No.
That'd be cool, though, wouldn't it? They weren't forward-thinking enough.
They did have what looked to be the death mask of Harlan Sanders.
Yeah, that
which was
there.
Slightly creepy. And there was an all-white, like, alabaster statue of Harlan Sanders sitting on a bench that you could, like, sit beside and have your picture taken with.
I got a selfie with him.
Yeah.
If you put the death mask on,
that activates something for sure. Like,
you just wind up in a commercial, because anybody can do it now.
Well, like, all of the components are there. There's, like, the body that's of the statue. There's, like, the face behind glass. There's also, like, a complete outfit that he wore behind glass. So it's gonna, like, evil Voltron together and just come up with this giant, destructive Harlan Sanders that is just gonna, like, be the American Godzilla.
It sounds like a Doctor Who episode.
The chicken tasted better there than it has at any other KFC I've ever been to.
It did.
And you think they'd just be doing that all the time. Why are they saving it for that one special place?
Well, also, though, this is the very first KFC. You've kind of got to raise your game.
That's true.
Like, if we just went there and ate it and we're like, this is just a KFC.
It's just a KFC.
Like, it feels a little anticlimactic.
They put an extra urban spice in it.
Just one.
Just one. One of each.
Like 18? That's madness.
We should probably talk about Doctor Who, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
The first episode is just now wrapping up on the TV.
Okay, so let's talk about the invasion of time. Before we jump in, did you have titles, or am I solo time?
I have titles. I say that, and you haven't heard them yet. So
well, you haven't heard mine yet.
Don't
either.
get too excited.
I'm a little excited.
Okay.
Tony, you get to vote on which one's the better.
Fantastic.
Episode 1 of the Invasion of Time. I actually have 2 titles for.
Well, this seems unfair.
I know, that is a little
You have
unfair.
2 entries.
Wow.
Yeah, but deal with it. I've got The Inheritance of Rassilon
Okay.
and Amber Alert.
See, I like Amber Alert.
Okay.
Okay. I've got the Gallifreyan Candidate.
Oh!
That's
good.
That's a very classic Who title.
So that would technically be a better title for the Deadly Assassin, probably.
Yeah, probably. But
it's good.
I'm not on the Deadly Assassin. I
still-
have no compunctions about just holding my Manchurian Candidate reference until this one.
This does kind of feel like a sequel to the Deadly Assassin, so following up on a lot of the themes. So
Can I say this episode stressed me out?
you did get a vote on the title.
Vote for Matt.
That's
Woo!
one for Matt. We got 6 episodes to go. We'll see who wins.
We have 5 episodes to go.
Oh, you're right.
Don't
I can't
add
math.
episodes to it, because I really won't remember those.
Our version had 7 episodes. Did yours only
What?
have 6? So, why did this episode stress you out?
Because I didn't know what was happening. And sometimes you don't know what's happening in Doctor Who, and it's because the writers don't either. But this was like, it starts in like...
Very abruptly.
Yes!
There's-
The doctor is having a conversation that you don't know what it's about, and you don't know who it's with.
Well, it looks like a council of butt plugs.
It does a little bit.
Either that or they're coneheads. He's arguing with the coneheads.
And he's like signing a contract. They were talking about he's like signing to get power over something, and you're
Well,
like...
he specifically says that the Time Lords.
over the Time Lords, and you're like, none of this tracks. What is happening? What is the deal here? This is not how this show works. This is not
I felt like I'd accidentally started the wrong episode.
what you've done before.
Which has happened.
It
so
has happened.
It's entirely possible.
We really did pull it up to look and like double check, and it was like, oh no, this episode just starts like this.
You know, that pen that the Doctor just
Stole.
fucking stole, but it's clearly one of those novelty pens that they put in restaurants that you don't want to steal.
You don't want to steal them? I
Like, where they, like, tape a spoon to the back of it or something.
It's funny that
And Leela's in the TARDIS though, and she's real bored, which is cute.
she's like asking K9, like, how long is the Doctor gonna be? And then Leela gets into a little bit of an argument with K9, and they're adorably bickering. There's a lot of adorable bickering in this serial. I think it's pretty well written.
Does
the
K9
dialogue.
have a collar that matches the
Doctor?
Doctor's scarf?
Oh my god, he does. I've never noticed.
I've never noticed it either. That's so cute.
I will say also, if you look at this TARDIS interior, there's like a weird lighting situation going on where they've got like a floodlight that's like on the floor or something.
Huh.
And it's really harsh, and it would not fly today. Anyone who acted in that scene would go up and say, no, that I don't look good there.
They get in, like I said, they get into an argument, and
Because Leela's trying to turn on the scanner, and the doctor told her not to.
and then it's not working, and she's like gotten on to K9, and he literally sulks.
He just shuts down and won't turn back on until she's like,
Well, she pets him,
yeah,
Cheers him up.
she has to apologize before I'll turn back on.
and then he's like, I think they got into an argument about him having emotions, and then she's like, you can't sulk either. That's not an emotion.
That's having an emotion.
So did we establish where Leela's outfits come from? Does the TARDIS just make them? Because she's changed outfits now.
Well, she had the caveman, or not caveman, but the savage one.
Yeah.
And then she got the Victorian one at some point, and then she went back to
She went
the
with a
savage
new
one.
She got a new dress.
savage one.
Yeah, but I thought the way that the show was saying was like it's the old one, but they had remade it anyway. Like it looked slightly different, but she's like it's the old one, but like they had redone it anyway. You know what I mean? Like they're trying to pass it off.
Of The Simpsons.
Like her clothes got recast.
She takes the same outfit and just restitches it in different configurations.
Or she finds another dress that she likes, but it's like this doesn't look savagey enough.
So they end up on Gallifrey.
Yeah.
And every time we're on Gallifrey, the outfits are so good.
Oh, I want to talk about
Gallifreyans
this
know
scene
how to
right here
dress.
real quick, though. Because he gets back on the TARDIS and is like, Leela's like, where were you and stuff? And he like won't say anything. And then he's like, what was that? What's up? And he's like, hey, Leela, order K9 to order you to shut up. And she does it.
Yeah.
That's a little ridiculous.
This guy looks like Michael Palin.
That is Castellan Kellner.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, so we get to Gallifrey. This guy that plays Castellan Kellner, in this episode, he is a very weaselly, gross dude.
He's the wormy guy.
Yeah.
He constantly will just, like, change a line, like, to help out the bad guys just because he doesn't want bad things to happen to him, sort of guy.
He's got a nice gold helmet.
He's been on the show before. He was in The Enemy of the World as the exact same character, pretty much. Just a weaselly, gross guy. But he was also in the Fourth Doctor era. He was in, what was the one where Sarah Jane's face falls off?
The Android Invasion?
Yes, he was in the Android Invasion. He had an eye patch on. He thought he didn't have an eye, but then he found out that he was being brainwashed to think he didn't have an eye, but he did have an eye.
Oh yeah, that was dumb.
It was really dumb. Anyway, that's him.
But he can't be all bad, because he hands out bouncy balls.
That is how Gallifreyan command system works.
That's because
Communications. They use them to do all sorts of things.
And that's how they turn on the Amber Alert, because they see that the TARDIS is coming.
Yes, and this is a wildly dramatic line read of the word amber. He just goes for it.
Does this precede Amber Alerts in America?
Yeah. That's recent-ish. I mean, not very recent, but...
Well, there you go.
It originated in 1996, so yes.
Did you just Google that, or did you know it?
I did Google that.
Okay. It's about to be really impressed. Or think you just bullshitted it. But
either could work.
The Doctor is very offended at the Amber Alert and says they have cheek. And the
K9 gives the literal definition of cheek.
And the Doctor has to be like, you're wrong. And K9's like, no, I'm not. I'm a dictionary. You're wrong. Cheek is a face thing. So they don't know what's coming. They don't know. They know it's from Gallifrey, but they don't know what it is. I don't even know if they know if it's a TARDIS or not. But they're like,
what's the other guy's name?
The other guy's name is Andred.
I love him. 1, 2. He has some wicked shoulder pads and a sweet cape.
Yeah, that's the same costume from Deadly Assassin.
I'm just now realizing K9 has a dog tag.
He also sometimes has a tongue.
Okay, so first of all, this outfit that Leela is wearing is like surf and turf. Because she just jumped into the swimming pool with it. And theoretically, I think, aren't we supposed to think that's leather? That's going to be bad. And secondly, is this the first time that we actually have seen the TARDIS's swimming pool?
Yes.
Yeah, this is the first time we've seen any room in the TARDIS that's not the couple of council rooms and, 1 or 2 other things. But, we see a lot of rooms in this serial.
Yeah, we've definitely seen, sleeping quarters in the first Doctor era.
Yeah.
And I think we may have seen a hallway at one point.
Yeah.
That had, a really badly CSO'd room on the other side that the Doctor put his boots in.
But I love that they just cut to a pool and they're like, that's in the TARDIS. And you're like,
fine.
What? It is?
The Vardens are playing the worst game of Tetris.
The Vardens are the butt plugs. We don't know that yet, but that's who the butt plugs will be, are the Vardens.
I knew ahead of time because I had subtitles turned on. And they gave no fucks for surprise. So they just had Varden, whatever their line would be.
Butt plug number 1, butt plug number 2, Varden.
Varden's the large one in the middle.
So they are going to arrest anyone in the thing that shows up, which is the TARDIS. They're going to arrest anyone or blow it up if no one's in it. So,
why would you do that? There's nobody in this time machine. We don't need it.
Blow it up.
Caution.
Could be full of bugs.
Could be full of bugs.
Could be. It just came back from the web planet.
They do appear on Gallifrey and get arrested. The doctor tells Leela to follow him, and she does, and he's like, why are you following me? Stay here. Why does he do this?
I don't know. He's behaving so oddly in this episode, and it stresses me out.
Yeah, and I'm not sure. I wasn't able to determine if he's acting that way because of something external, or if he's trying to sort of tip Leela off that something's not right.
Because he can't, straight up say things.
Right.
Because, as we'll find out later, he's basically being checked in on.
Spying.
They're spying on his mind. Yeah, they have
I don't know if he's saying what he means and then remembering that and trying to cover it up, or if he's intentionally trying to send signals to Leela and others that might be sympathetic. Say, hey, I'm not acting right.
What I like about this scene is he gets arrested and he just is like, all right, follow me. And the guards are like, no, you're being arrested. You follow me. And he's like, all right, fine, after you. And they keep going the same direction.
And then he just tries to walk into a room as they're going down a hallway. And, what are you doing? You can't just leave us. And he's like, I'm going into here. And they're like, you can't go in there. It's the Chancellor's office. And he's like, yeah, I know that. That's why I want to go in there. I'm like, well, no one goes in unannounced. And he's like, well, announce me.
And so he does. He just does it.
And they take him in there, and he meets Chancellor Barusa, I believe is how you pronounce it.
Barusa, whom I think is wearing Doctor Strange's Eye of Agamotto.
Yeah.
That's definitely an Infinity Stone.
Barusa is a fun character.
He used to be the Doctor's teacher.
Which he looks up suitably tired.
Now, he also, just picking up from context clues, was in The Deadly Assassin. Is that right?
I think he might have been.
Okay, I couldn't remember.
There's definitely a character like him, but I'm not sure if it's the same character.
I want to say that I read that it was.
Is it the same person?
I think he's played by the same guy.
First appearance was The Deadly Assassin. Okay, yeah. I completely...
Yeah, I forgot about him.
He's wearing a very fetching magenta smoking robe.
He's the guy that's I'll adjust the truth and I'll make sure this doesn't,
Oh, okay.
I thought it was him, but I wasn't sure.
What's great is the doctor just marches into his office and is like, I'm the president now. It's legal and you can't do anything about it. You're watching it and you're like, what does that mean? Why would he even want, he doesn't want that. What is he doing?
And he gets super angry too. It's not just him yeah, I'm the president. Whatever. Make me the president. He's like, I am the president. Just yelling at them. And is ordering a ceremony. He's very angry. He's not punching anybody, but he's violently angry.
He's violent and impatient and shouting until Barusa leaves. And then he kind of sinks back down and sighs. He's exhausted and you're like, what is this?
And then there's a lot of this in this serial. We cut back to the aliens for a second and they're like, They actually keep intercutting with the Vardens.
Too much? A little bit. Just a little bit.
Just saying confusing things. But one of them says they're worried about the doctor. And he's like, I'm not worried about the doctor. He understands discipline. And then it cuts back to Barusa talking to Castellan. And he's just like, no discipline. That's his problem.
Yeah, that I have a note on that this is some Archer level linking dialogue.
It's amazing.
Throughout the entire thing.
Yes.
Yes. A lot of that one thing cut to the complete opposite. One of my favorite writing tropes.
I also have, Time Lords are catty bitches.
I mean, that is just a fact. That is something that we've talked about on the podcast before, and we all know.
They love drama.
They're the people who are like, oh man, I hate drama, who are the worst, who cause the most drama. That's Time Lords.
Which, to be fair, their shoulder pads are made specifically to communicate that.
That is true. You take one look at those shoulder pads and you're like, oh, okay, I know who I'm dealing with here.
I feel the same way about their gloves.
Really just all the gold and the fanciness. I do remember, so Barusa, is that his name?
Yeah. He's
a cardinal, and there are scenes with him where I'm like, this is very specifically every Catholic and academic scenario that I've ever been in rolled into one. Like, that's Time Lords. I was saying about the ceremony that happens later where the Doctor is becoming president. And I was like, it's every Catholic and academic thing. And then I went, baccalaureate, because that's a Catholic ceremony that happens when you graduate. It's a mass.
So that's a specific joke for all of you Catholics out there.
For all you guys who went to Catholic school. You guys know what I'm talking about.
That one's for you.
That's Catholic school and Time Lords. Same. That's all I'm saying.
I also have a note that says, quote, Thanksgiving turkey glitter. I'm going to let you figure out where that is applicable to the episode.
Great.
I don't remember.
Great.
If anyone knows, write in. What part of episode 1 has something that would relate to Thanksgiving turkey glitter?
Keep an eye out.
So the Doctor gets special new presidential digs, and he's making all these, like, demands.
He wants them to, like, specifically decorate it in a very specific way, and he's very adamant about it.
Yeah, he's specifying the kinds of metal to be used and the designs.
And he also wants new clothes for Leela.
Which is
for
always
her
a good
ceremony.
scene.
And she tries out the clothes.
Thanksgiving turkey glitter!
It's her outfit.
It's the dress.
It's her outfit. We figured it
There
out.
we go.
Mystery solved. She doesn't really want the clothes, though. All she wants is her weapons back.
Which is great. So what is
She's
his
with
name again?
Andred.
Andred. I can't remember.
Oh, they
names.
do have a scene together. I forgot.
They
But
have one.
I love Andred
I think they have one more
so
later,
much.
but...
Because literally, he's like the guard assigned to watch her, and like, he's way too like polite society to know what to do with her. Where she's like, just give me my knife back. And he's like, I'm really sorry, but I can't. Does he call her ma'am or miss? And she's like, my name's Leela. And he's like, I'm sorry, ma'am. Something like that, where like he keeps, being very polite, and she's not having it, and he does not know what to do with her. And I think at one point, and this probably happens later on, but he convinces, he's like, this is a ceremony to honor, like, the Doctor, and that kind of, like, gets her to change her mind a little bit, and she's like, is there anything that I can do? Like, is there anything that I need to do in the ritual or anything? And he's like, just maybe don't kill anyone?
This is,
Yes.
she actually steals her knife back from him.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he
At this
just
point,
lets
too.
her have it, because what's he gonna do? And she just is like, we'll see.
Yeah, there are a couple of adorable Leela
I will
moments.
try not to kill.
That was
Yeah.
it. Leela, if you could avoid killing anyone, it would help. And then there's a long, pregnant pause where she replies, I will try.
It's very serious. It's one of my favorite scenes.
Yeah, the ceremony is happening. We find out that he's basically going to enter the Matrix, which was in The Deadly Assassin. Like, he's going to become one with the Matrix. What the Matrix knows, he will know, and what he knows, the Matrix will know. And we're setting up the ceremony. We get these two sassy-ass Time
This
Lords.
scene goes on for so long, but also just the right amount of time.
No idea what they're talking about, but I know the tone.
It's the greatest scene, because that's exactly it. They're having this techno-babble conversation, but you know that they're being, like, catty and, like, gossipy. That is some amazing dialogue writing.
One of them's, like, basically being like, oh, you don't know about this thing. You're so dumb. I don't know, like, he's just talking about this technobabble, but, like, in a very demeaning way toward the other person.
Yeah.
Also, one of these is a Time Lord named Gomer.
Well,
Oh,
golly.
no! That's the saddest Time Lord name.
So the ceremony starts happening.
Which by that they're like these special relics, and
it's like the staff of Rassilon, and it's all that stuff from the Deadly Assassin, I believe.
but they're brought out on like plastic inflatable pillows.
Also,
Red
the doctor,
see-through
the
pillows.
doctor is totally about to be baptized.
I said the same thing
I'm
when we were
telling
watching
you,
it.
it's very Catholic.
And then the guy sort of heading up the ceremony bangs his stick a lot. Is like, does the whole like, if these two should not be wed,
Mowed.
speak now or forever hold your peace. Anybody, please. I'm going to keep banging this stick until someone says to say that he shouldn't be up here being president. Anyone? But he bangs his stick 3 times and then nothing. So
So
that
now
was
he's the
that was a
president.
big old time filler. So he goes and he grabs the crown, which like is a decent effect. It like floats up to his hand from this like pillar on the floor. And the doctor is crowned by the Matrix and immediately collapses in pain. And And that is the cliffhanger. That is the end of episode 1. We are now into episode 2, which again I have 2 titles for.
I mean, that's cheating, but okay. But I'll allow it.
I have Heavy as the Crown.
Okay.
And Red Alert. There's a red alert in this one.
Mine is President Evil.
President Evil.
Oh.
Like Resident.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
Damn, that's good.
No one's again.
Heavy as the Crown.
President Evil.
I know. That's too political for me. So, the Doctor has basically been rejected by the Matrix because it's hurting so much. I guess he puts himself in a self-inflicted coma.
My note says, he's reacting so poorly to being given the Matrix that you'd think he got Reloaded and Revolutions along with it.
I like Reloaded okay.
There's also a moment, I think it was at the end of the last episode, where everyone did actually bow because he was now president. And Leela took a moment, and you see her look around, and then she kneels as well.
I think like Andred pulls her down.
He's like, come on.
You gotta bow. This is all just a trick to get me to bow to him, wasn't it?
I mean, that sounds like the Doctor.
But when the Doctor collapsed, Leela ran up to him to make sure he was okay. And like the Time Lords...
She pulled the Matrix off.
Yeah, she pulled the crown off. But like the Time Lords think that she attacked him?
No, they don't, but she thinks they might think that. She says, she's like, I didn't hurt him, I saved him.
Well, they're taking her away. They're gonna like lock her away or something. And like she pulls a knife on him, but then they point like a big old Gallifrey gun at her, and then she like goes along willingly.
Because she's not supposed to touch it. Nobody's supposed to touch any of those things besides the president.
Or the inflatable pillows.
Right.
Like, that's why they
That's
have the
why the inflatable pillows exist.
It's just a barrier between
Yeah.
your normal Time Lord and the shit of Rassilon. The various accoutrements of
She
Rassilon.
doesn't get arrested right away. It's not until the Doctor actually says, kick her out.
No, it's before that.
Is it?
Yeah, he's still out when they sort of like point a gun at her and stuff. But the Doctor is taken away to, I think, the President's room. Or no, it's not the President's room, it's a different room. He wakes up and then says that there's no aliens allowed, and they kick out Leela.
Yeah, which I have a note on that I really love the idea of calling Leela the alien. Because that's not something that you see in a lot of science fiction, where we just kind of have a tendency to see humans as, oh, they're humans, they're people, they're, us. For them to look at her and refer to her as the alien is just a neat little thing.
I think Chris Cherry said he liked this era, but like there was some weird Trump-esque things happening. There is this guy that's sort of in collusion with bad guys, and he's also saying no aliens allowed. I guess he could make some connections there. But yeah, they kick out Leela.
The Doctor does.
Yeah.
The Doctor says there's not supposed
Banish her,
to be
basically.
any aliens here. And to kick her out, not just of like the room, but like of the city, of the Citadel.
She doesn't go willingly. She actually doesn't go with them at all. She kick-asses her way out of the room. And they're like hunting her down. And he's like, yeah, chase her down, banish her. But there's like alarms going off because she ran away. And the Doctor thinks that it's in his head. He thinks the ringing is in his own head.
But he's telling other people to turn it off. He's like, could you do something about the alarm bells in my head? Thanks.
Barusa does not buy all this, though. He thinks the Doctor's up to something. He'd be right. They'd leave the Doctor alone to rest and recuperate, which means that he just gets up and starts checking the room out. He finds a secret door behind a very noisy curtain.
Yeah, that curtain makes mechanical sounds.
It's like, whenever he like raises it up, like he just opened a Zelda chest or something.
I thought he was just auditioning for the role of Polonius.
It's possible. It's the guy that got stabbed behind the curtain, right?
I do that.
I know some Shakespeare. I'm glad you referenced like the one of 3 plays I've read.
Well, that's why I referenced it. I read those same 3 plays.
I'm pretty sure I read it because I wanted to understand what Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead was about. But
that is very on brand for you. I love it.
But behind the noisy curtain is the door. It's locked. He doesn't know how to get in it. Tries sonicking it, and it doesn't work. And he turns right to the camera and goes,
Yes, he does.
It's not working.
Even the sonic screwdriver won't get me out of this one. Do you know how?
Doctor, there's a blue paw print on the keys behind you.
Whose clues?
Whose clues? For those listening, that killed Tony.
It was good. It was good. I read a lot that like Tom Baker, like, as time went on, was kind of like, I can carry this show, and they, like, just on his own. And they were like, you need somebody to, like, talk to. And he would be like,
No, I don't.
I can talk to the camera. And I feel like it's getting to he's been, like, around long enough that people are afraid to tell him no.
Yeah, there's some things that happen in this one specifically that I'm wondering if this is the era of Tom getting his way all the time. But he figures out how to open the door by having a chat with himself, / he's pretending to have a conversation with Barusa, talking about, like, keys and, like, how would you lock a door, and he's like, he figures out, like, there was something he used to tell him, like, there's nothing more useless than a lock with a voice print. And, like, he tries saying that exact phrase in Barusa's voice, and it works. The door opens. So he hopscotches past a knife-wielding Leela.
He kind of hopscotches into the camera. I think he, like...
Yeah, he does
bit,
bump it.
yeah.
He does, yeah.
And Leela is kind of, like, following him, because at this point, me and her are on the same page. We don't know what's happening. And so she's following the doctor because, like, she wants to be with the doctor, but also, like, he's the one who, like, ordered her to be thrown out. So she's almost just, like, she's, like, happy to see him, but then, like, hanging back, like, I'm gonna see how this plays out. I want to see what's up with this.
There's a bit where she grins, and it looks like they just forgot to cut it out. It's genuine, her watching the actor just, like, run into the camera.
The Castellan sees this on the security camera and sends Andred after them. And the doctor, like, walks up to a whole bunch of guards and says, bow to the sash of Rassilon. So they all bow, and he goes through. And then Leela, like, comes through and goes, I'm with him. Which I feel like that was the doctor, like, helping her. Because I'm pretty sure he's aware she's behind him.
I'm glad you brought that up, because my note only has, quote, I'm with him, and then in all caps, ha. I found it very amusing, but I did not remember what I found very amusing. Also, Time Lords can't say double-digit numbers correctly. They don't just say 30 or 65. It's 30 and 65.
Did not notice that.
Like, I am 30 years old.
Not yet. I'm 29 years old. Soon, though. Guys, Monday I'll be 30 years old. Woo! So, give me stuff. But the doctor goes to the TARDIS, and Leela comes to try to get in, but it's locked. And the doctor and K9 are both, like, inside, like, shh, and won't let her in. Like, they both know she's trying to get in, and neither one of them will let her in.
There was a moment, I think it was in the last episode, where K9 just, like, flat out insults the TARDIS.
Oh, right, yeah.
Calls it a very stupid machine.
Because he's, like, talking to it, and it just beeps at him.
Yeah.
And he's like, I can speak.
And you just know that, like, the TARDIS is gonna mess him up later.
The TARDIS is so going to just, like, open its door mid-flight and just, like, kick him out.
Yeah.
Down, dog. But the guards come up, so Leela runs and hides. Yeah, Andrew comes back to those guards that are, like, bowing. And is like, did you see anybody? And they're like, yeah, the doctor came through here. You didn't do anything? No.
Well, he's the president.
So K9 does a checkup on the doctor, and then they sort of talk about plans. We don't know what the plans are, but they're, like, talking about how successful it could be. Like,
they're discussing the statistics of success of, like, individual plans. She's like, well, what if I do this? And K9's like, well, that increases the success rate to, and I think they get it up to, like, 60%. Like, the first time. It starts at 38 and goes to 60, and he's like, okay, well, but if I do this, and, like, you know, they keep talking until I think they get it up to 98.
I think the doctor's like, well, I feel a little bit more confident in it. And, like, I think K9's sort of like, well, I'm 100% positive that my percentages are more correct than yours. Just saying. Again, more delightful bickering. So Leela's running away to hide from the guards, and she bumps into a force field, which there is a woman behind.
I love this character so much. She's delightful. Because she's just sitting there as calm as possible and, like, knows that Leela's there, and she's like, you can't get in here. It's a force field. I mean, and just, like, making small talk. She knows who she is. She knows she's wanted and supposed to be, like, thrown out. And she's just like, it's just really boring in here. I'm just really bored. She's like, I'm, like, way smart. I'm, like, way too smart for this job. And I'm bored. And just is like, if you want to, like, come in, I got nothing better to do, and just, like, drops the force. I mean, after a while, there's a period of time where, like, they're just chatting, and Leela's on the other side of the force field.
Just, like, leaning up against it, like, mining it.
She's just, this character is just complaining about her job.
Which is basically traffic control.
Yeah, and Leela is like, yeah, that sounds rough. Like, she's just listening to her and commiserating with her, and eventually she's like, yeah, alright, I knew I'd like you, come on in. And just, like, they just hang out together for a while.
Her name is Rodan. They were going to give... I think she was going to be the companion, Rodan, but instead it was the Connors. No, that's a different show. But I guess they used her as a sort of template for the next companion we're going to get. She's wearing, like, a pink and purple looking thing. But she's, like, basically saying she's not super worried about anything. Nothing can get through the barriers. Cut to the Doctor, and the TARDIS like, hey, K9, destroy them barriers. And then leaves the TARDIS. He bumps into Andred outside. And he's like, oh, I just went into the TARDIS for some jelly babies. Do you want one?
Oh my god, this scene is so good.
The Doctor and him are very slowly, like, they each have a jelly baby. And, like, they're very slowly moving it to their mouth, like, testing each other.
He's like following the Doctor, and the Doctor is, like, treating him like a child.
My read on it is like, Andred's like, I don't know whether to eat this. This might be poison. And the Doctor's not eating it either. And they both basically eat it at the same time.
But also, like, he doesn't know what it is. He just handed him a thing.
A squishy thing.
A squishy thing was like, it's a jelly baby. And he's like, cool, what do I... in my mouth?
I'm eating a child.
Do I...
I'm eating some sort of jelly child.
But he finally eats it and he's like, oh, yeah, that's pretty good. Like, it's just very cute. I don't know.
But after that little bit, the Doctor sends Andred and the guards after Leela. And then they all leave, and then they had previously sent out one guard to get keys for the TARDIS, and he comes back in like, where the hell did everybody go? And he goes and he tries to, like, open the TARDIS. He does. The TARDIS door's open, and K9 comes out, and that's when he just straight up murders him?
Murder, dude.
He gets shot by K9. He goes for a handshake.
Oh, he was gonna give him scritches.
I really hope that K9 just had it set to, like, sleep.
Yeah, but it was... yeah, it's set to stun.
Because that dude did nothing wrong.
He's going for a handshake.
Right.
The Doctor returns to his room as Castellan and Barusa come in and say they can't find Leela. Doctor says, call a meeting.
Who sits in those chairs?
They're little kid chairs.
They are. Are there, like, little time...
They look inflatable, too.
Lords and lordettes?
No,
Inflatable
they
or
look
plastic?
like they stole them from a preschool.
Time toddlers.
They're everywhere, too. They're, like, really low to the ground.
The end of this episode is just like, the Time Lords are being invaded. The Doctor's like, yeah, it's time for me to introduce you guys to your new masters. These people are in charge of the Time Lords now.
Because, yeah, that's what the K9 was shooting up. He took down the barrier that let the ship in.
Which, again, I watched this with the captions on, and the final shot of the episode just has, in brackets and all caps, laughing evilly.
Yeah.
That's what these aliens come in, and the Doctor's like, yeah, these people are in charge, and then he
calls
cackles.
them, these are your new masters.
And that's the end of the episode.
My notes say they crackle in, and he cackles.
Oh, okay.
This is definitely like some aluminum foil on CSO.
I like them.
It's effective.
It's just like tinfoil, and they shake it, so it's like...
It's the best use of a household item since the bubble wrap.
That's the end of episode 2, is the Doctor evilly laughing, President Evil. Now we're now into episode 3, which I again have 2 titles for.
Alright, let's hear them.
The Crinkly Invasion.
Okay.
And Aluminum Nemesis.
That one's pretty good.
And
Yeah,
what's
go
yours?
with that one. Mine sucks. I front loaded my good ones, and the rest are just sort of existing. I have the gunpowder plot thickens, and I don't even know why. It just sounded good, and I didn't bother to interrogate it.
I'm gonna have to go with Joe this time around.
Aluminum Nemesis?
Yeah.
Nice. Which is a reference to a future serial I have not seen. Alright, so the Crackles, or the Vardens.
As we now know what they are called.
Yes. They take out one of the guards, and Doctor's like, don't bother, they're very powerful, just submit to them.
They're sort of like low polygon ghosts at first.
They sort of like shuffle in and out of the CSO.
They kind of clip in.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't load properly the first time.
They cut out a lot in places. They're very obviously just put in and well, not post because they did this stuff live.
It's live.
But,
Yeah. It's overlay. I think what I like about it is that without context, just looking at it, I think they achieved effect that's different enough that you're kind of like, what did they do there? I mean, like, after a minute, you're like, oh, that's what they put some tinfoil and TSO'd it in. But, like, it achieves something that is like, it does kind of look like something that's, like, not quite there. That's only, like, half projecting itself in, you know? I think it achieves what it meant to.
Yeah, I think the concept they were going for looks alien enough that you can't put your finger on what exactly they're trying to do. It's not like they're clearly trying to CSO something that they didn't do a very good job of CSO.
Yeah.
Like, it looks like its own alien thing. And I think that drastically helps it.
So the doctor asks Barusa about the office redecoration again and says, is it up? And he's like, it is. And he's like, meet me there.
And Barusa at this point has bought everything that the doctor's done up until this point at face value and, like, doesn't give a shit about the doctor.
Right.
Yeah, there's a line where Barusa says, I expected better of you, doctor. And the doctor is, like, legitimately touched and said, did you? Thank you. And that was, like, actually sweet.
Yeah.
So the Vardens are asking the doctor, like, how long is it going to take you to get the key? The key of Rassilon, which is apparently
what they want.
What they want. It's possibly a myth. And the doctor's like, it'll only be a matter of time. I'll get it for you.
The music after that came perilously close to being a womp womp.
Leela argues with Roden because she still trusts the doctor, and Roden's like, well, obviously he's done all this bad stuff.
This scene is very sweet because Leela's like, if that's what he's done, he's doing it for a reason and he has a plan. Like, she's so sure.
And Roden keeps saying, but, like, reason dictates that this is a thing. Reason dictates he's done this. Reason dictates he's done that. And then Leela says, reason is a liar.
Yeah.
But she also says, you know, Roden's like, what if you're wrong? And she's like, then I'll deal with the consequences of that. But I don't think I am. And I like that kind of, like, clear-headedness and that commitment. Like, she's not saying it's impossible that she's wrong. She's like, if I am, then I'll fucking deal with it. But I'm not. And, like...
She's such a creature of action.
Yeah.
That, like, another line that I've got written down here is, discussion is for the wise or the helpless, and I am neither. I may be wrong, but I'm going to do it, and then deal with it later. Like, I don't like being bored.
Oh, well, but then, like, Leela and Roden team up, and they head out to do stuff together. We both immediately went, ship
it. Not ship it.
But the doctor ducks away from some of his guards and goes into that room that has recently been redecorated. Silver steampunk room. It's all lead, right? Something like that.
I think it's, yeah.
Yes,
but I think that whatever it is, they make it clear in this scene that he wanted a shielded space.
They can talk now because the Vardens are telepathic, and this blocks their mind transmissions. Well, he's like, well, how have you been doing it, Doctor? And he's like, well, I learned from you how to shield my mind. And he's like, well, you didn't trust me to do that? And then he like asks him for tea or something like that. He's like, what? What are you talking about? What does that have to do with anything? And he's like, see, you guys are too single-minded. I can think in 50 different directions.
Like, I can be thinking about one thing and also thinking about 800 different things. You're single-minded. If you're thinking of one thing, you're completely focused on it. And Baros is like, my God, you're right.
The master learns from the students.
I will say, knowing the ultimate end of it, I didn't want to like Andred.
Yeah.
I wanted to be righteously mad.
Yeah.
But I do like him.
He's so dang likable.
He is. He's like the one Time Lord that's not the Doctor that I like.
This is the second scene with Leela and Andred in a scene together, because Leela and Roden bump into him, and he's sort of like, be careful if people bump in. If there's other guards that see you, they will shoot you. But I'm kind of on your side. I don't think you guys are bad.
I mean, in the entirety of this serial, I think they have 3 scenes together, but they do legitimately have chemistry.
I think Leela and Roden have more chemistry.
They do.
That's when they leave the Citadel after they bump into Andred, and then they're like running through the desert. Which I remember when we watched The Deadly Assassin, and I was like, I thought Gallifrey had deserts and stuff, and because from what I'd seen in New Who, and now we see it in this episode. I was like, oh, okay, I guess it is from Classic Who.
The deserts are basically like outside of the Citadel, so like outside of the major part of the city.
And Leela's having a great time out there.
She's like finally we went someplace good for a change.
And she asks Rodan why she's scared, and Rodan says it's also natural. And I was like, Rodan is me. It is completely me, because I would be miserable out there.
They're like both like, well, there's a bunch of crazy shit happening in the Citadel. At least it's got to be safer here. Boing! Spear immediately.
And then some sort of weird Gallifrey Vikings show up.
Played by guys who probably shouldn't be playing Vikings, to be honest. The leader of the Viking tribe is supposed to be like a big manly man guy, but he doesn't at all look that way to me. He looks so... He kind of looks old to me.
They did all start as Time Lords. Like, they are all still Gallifreyan.
That's true. That's fair. They get taken back to the tribe.
Could you imagine if, like... No, I mean, I guess that's real. I guess that's true.
What?
Like, just like you drove like an hour away from Chattanooga and there were just like people there who were like throwing spears at shit, and you're like, man, you can just go to the store and buy food. What you doing? And they're like, no, we reject society. We're hunters. I was saying that, and I'm like, yeah, you probably wouldn't have to drive that far to find that group.
You could drive an hour away and find hunters. That's for sure.
I mean, hunters, yeah, but I'm talking about like people who are like specifically off the grid. It probably wouldn't take that long to find.
So at the tribe, they give Leela her knife back, and they're having a chat. And they're like,
the tribe loves Leela, by the way.
Well, who wouldn't? And they're like, you must be here. You must want protection. And Leela's like, I don't need protection. But then, like, they just start talking about how dangerous it is, and they basically scare the shit out of Rodan, who just breaks down into tears, like, yeah, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing out here. This is so scary. Leela's just kind of like, oh my god.
And my imagination, they're not that far. They're like a couple miles from the Citadel.
It looks like Leela found a tribe of people who are auditioning for the Warriors.
The main guy looks like he'd be like a sitcom boss.
Well, he just got flipped by Leela. He like shoved a spear or something at her, and she grabbed his arm and flipped him. And I'm wondering if maybe they picked the one guy who knew how to fall right and didn't bother to worry about, like, well, he has the right look or he has the right feel for it.
So the Doctor and Barusa leave the Silver Steampunk room and meet up with the Vardens.
I feel like they needed some... And I know Classic Who can kind of go too far in the direction, but I feel like the Vardens needed some sort of voice modulation. Because as it is, it's like aluminum foil talking at you like an insurance salesman. Just like flat, like, hey, we want to take over your planet. Is that cool? Are you good with that?
At least do an accent or something.
Right.
Well, to be fair, we later find out they're basically just humans.
They're just people.
Yeah, I mean, they're essentially evil middle managers that doesn't quite make sense in the grand scheme of things why the Doctor is so cowed by them in order to put this whole giant plan into motion. But I mean, it works for the first 4 episodes.
Yeah.
It's good.
The Vardens shoot Barusa because he's like, I will not help you. They don't kill Barusa, they just stun him. And the Doctor has him put under house arrest, basically.
K9 should take lessons from the Vardens on how to shoot people and not just straight up murder their asses.
The Doctor orders Castellan to get him a list of people who might rebel. Castellan goes away, returns with the list, and when he comes back with the list, the Doctor just starts ordering him to do stuff. He's like, "Give me my jelly babies," and like he has to like reach into the Doctor's pocket, pull out the jelly babies. He's like, "Get me an orange one." But basically, the Doctor takes this list and he's like, "I'm going to exile all the people on this list because they could rebel and cause problems for the Vardens." But it's basically he's getting all those people out there to Leela to start up a rebellion. He's basically putting them all in one place where they're safe. Then the Vardens order the Doctor to dismantle the force field around Gallifrey, even though that could vaporize Gallifrey. But they're like, don't care, do it! Then we learn a little bit more about the tribe. They all left Gallifrey because they didn't like it. So who can blame them?
I'm just now realizing is Gallifrey the city or the planet or both? Because, like, in New Who, now that you've got an effects budget, you see, like, the giant snow globe city. But is that just Gallifrey? Is it like a New York situation?
Maybe.
I don't think I've ever thought to ask that question
this
until just now.
Gallifrey.
Yeah. It's New York State and New York City. It's just on a grand planetary scale.
I do have a lot of
I do
problems.
think that's what it is. It's Gallifrey.
Gallifrey?
Like
Yeah.
Gallifrey City.
I have a problem with that in a lot of, like, sci-fi, of just planets that are just one place.
But now, to be fair, like, Gallifrey City is a very different environment than the rest of Gallifrey, which I assume the rest of the planet is just a giant desert. Because we've never seen anything
It's like,
that doesn't show that.
it's like in the Super Mario Brothers movie.
Right. But everything is just, it's one level.
I'm sure there's some nerd out there listening who's, like, screaming at the podcast.
If you are that
They
nerd,
know.
please write in
Yeah.
with the answer to, is Gallifrey a city, a planet,
Or both. So, Gomer, from before,
Gomer the Time Lord.
Time Lord Gomer.
is one of the first to be expelled. And Andred, like, escorting him out, and Andred, like, tells him, like, about Leela and the team up with her and stuff. And you guys start a resistance. Sort of lets him in on that as they're taking him out. And then we cut to Leela, and Leela is riling up the tribe, like, getting them all ready to fight. We cut back to Andred, and he is also riling up his guards to betray the Vardens, to get rid of the Vardens.
And get rid
But-
of the Doctor.
Yeah, I was about to say, Andred thinks the Doctor is bad, so he is trying to get rid of the Doctor. The Doctor sneaks away into the TARDIS. Well, he doesn't sneak, he convinces his guard, the guard that's on that Castle put on, to stay outside. And he goes in, and that guard gets shot by Andred. The Doctor puts the Matrix crown on K9 inside the TARDIS. He puts the Matrix crown on him. They've got their own little plan going on. And Andred comes into the TARDIS, breaks into the TARDIS, and sentences the Doctor to death and points a gun at him. And the Doctor's like, oh, hey, don't do that.
I don't care for that. That seems rude. And I also should point out that at this point, still, the Vardens have not shown themselves.
Right,
They're
there's
still
crinkly-
aluminum foil.
because that's going to be part of the Doctor's plan later on. But the Doctor's got a gun pointed at him. That's the end of episode 3, and we are now into episode 4, which I've just called Death Sentence.
I've just called The End. Or is it? Which is just applicable to any of these 6-parters that have like a 4 and a 2-part combined.
It's a tie.
So K9 stuns Andred. K9 reconnects to the TARDIS.
Have we ever seen any sort of wildlife on Gallifrey?
No.
The
I don't think
Doctor.
so. Well,
Leela.
like I don't think we've ever seen like Gallifreyan deer or something.
What lives in the desert?
Gallifreyan
Rocks.
roadrunners and
They're just
Gallifreyan
drinking
coyotes.
cactus juice. The spears are just so that they can, like, get into the cactus. They're just out there chucking spears at plants.
They're just hunting cacti.
I was about to say, we have heard of plant life on Gallifrey, for sure.
Also, the Doctor has so much trouble getting the Matrix to stay on K9's head.
He's trying to balance it on the back of his head, and eventually he's like,
Just put it on his antenna. It's fine.
Castellan sends guards after Andred. Andred wakes back up after being stunned and tries to use the gun, but the gun doesn't work. It does not work in the TARDIS. And then outside, the guards that Castellan sent start shooting the guards that were with Andred. So there's just guards shooting guards.
See, K9
stuns-
stuns Andred.
he
so.
stuns Andrew, which means he does have a stun gun in there. So maybe he didn't laser that first guy.
I don't think K9 just indiscriminately kills.
Yeah.
And Slimy Guy is now cozying up to the Vardens.
He is officially swapped sides. He actually, there's a bit where he keeps trying to get on their good side, and they just keep, like,
They just shut him down.
shove
every
him down,
time.
shove him down.
They
It's great.
know how much of a toady he is, and even they're like, no, we don't want that.
So after the guards start shooting each other, the Doctor exits the TARDIS and tells the guards that are still standing, like, Andred escaped. He's not here. Go find him. And then goes back on the TARDIS to talk to Andred. And just gets onto him for his sort of shitty revolution attempts. Not like it's bad that you're trying to do a revolution. You're just really bad at it.
I think he literally says, you failed, didn't you? I'm still alive, so kudos on the bang-up job. Like,
The Doctor fills him in about the Vardens. He's like, we're in the TARDIS. They can't hear my thoughts in here. And he's like, basically what I want to do, I don't know where they're from. I want to find their planet of origin and time loop them, like has been mentioned before. I think in, I forget which one it was. The weird one.
You want to be more specific on that one?
it is Doctor Who.
Also, while we're thinking about that, I want to give a shout out to the production design of whatever this room is that the TARDIS landed in, because it looks really good, and it also looks alien. Like they're just weird design choices that feel like they made sense for Gallifrey, but they're not something that you could turn on any other TV show and see.
It's very similar to the set from The Deadly Assassin, but not quite the same.
Yeah,
Slightly
there's a pretty good sense of continuity. And I think it's helped by the fact that they visited Gallifrey so rarely in the classic show that there were only like 2 or 3 other points that they had to reference.
So what was the cereal with the snake turd things? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I don't remember.
Because that one, there was a planet that was stuck in a time loop by the Time Lords.
By the Time Lords.
So that's what the Doctor wants to do to the Vardens. But he can't figure out where they're from until they materialize, because they're in their crinkly forms, and that's not really them. That's their projections. So if they actually show up, he can, I don't know, do a thing.
Yeah, he can do a thing. He can do a science thing to
Yeah, and then figure out where they come from.
But the dialogue is again great.
It's so good.
There's one line where someone says to the Doctor, "But you have access to the greatest source of knowledge in the universe." And the Doctor says, "Well, I do talk to myself sometimes, yes."
Yeah, I think it's David. I'm pretty sure it's David Agnew. That's Graham Williams and Anthony Reid. I think they had to rush to put this together because it was a different script originally, and then they had to throw this all
put together.
Yeah,
It's so good.
Bravo, fake person.
Anthony Reid is the series script editor, and Graham Williams was the series producer. Written as a replacement for another story called The Killers of the Dark, which was considered too expensive and complex to shoot. The script was written in just 2 weeks with 4 days for rewrites.
Damn.
Bravo.
Yeah. I'm super impressed.
And Robert Holmes suggested to Graham Williams that this story be split into 2 segments.
Which is both a plus and a minus to me.
Yeah.
Because part of it is good that you don't just have like a really long serial. The other part is you get to the end of the first part, the first section, and you're like, okay, I have now accomplished the watching of this thing. Oh, it's still going.
I think it worked a little bit better when they did it last time in The Green Death. I think it worked better being a 2-parter than
Just
a
start
4-parter.
Yeah.
2-parter feels like a prologue.
Yeah.
Whereas this feels like a serial followed by like a really rushed.
Really extended ending that feels like tacked on. The same thing happened with Talons of Wing-Chiang. Like the first 4 episodes fit together. The last 2 fit together. But there's definitely like a break point between them.
Right. And then there's also just over-encompassing racism.
Yeah, there's that. But at least you had the racism split into 2 parts instead of 1, which is somehow better and somehow worse.
Basically, though, the thing you're saying about the greatest resource is the Matrix. And the Matrix has been invaded by, I guess, the Vardens. The Doctor can't get into the Matrix because they can read his thoughts and stuff. But that's why he has K9 doing it. Because K9 doesn't have thoughts.
He doesn't have emotions.
He's just,
Except when he does.
he's just a robot. That's when the Doctor calls K9 his second best friend.
Aww. Also, at some point, someone says the words radiolactic interference.
Ew.
And that does not sound like technology I want us to master. That's just gross.
Castellan full-on tells the Vardens that he is suspicious of the Doctor. The Vardens are like, we are aware of this. We think he's going to betray us at some point. You're not telling us anything new. We are aware that he's probably going to betray us. Cut to the Doctor. I don't think they know.
Again, this bravo to the writers, because it does not feel rushed. It doesn't feel like something that just got slapped together. Also, this is hilarious, watching the Time Lord Gallifreyans try to master a bow and arrow.
They are not at all good at it. They've got all these people, but they're like, we can't do anything with them.
We can't fight with them.
Yeah.
So she plans with the tribe leader to just sort of basically do the plan without these people that the Doctor has been sending her. Because they're so useless.
She's gonna get back there and just be like, Doctor, you just gave me luggage. These people are useless.
Oh, I also want to point out this one line Andrew says, because like the doctor's telling his plans, and they're very, weird plans, and he's like, he's mad. One of us is mad. It's either him, and he just like does not want to.
Doesn't want to finish the thought.
Also, the doctor upgrades Andrew's helmet so that he can walk around without getting mind fiddled.
He gets the Magneto treatment.
I think this is the point when they're like, we have to have them materialize, and then the doctor can lock onto the planet with using K9. They need to figure out how to get them to materialize, and the doctor is going to agree to take down the barrier in order to convince the Vardens that he's on their side and to convince them to materialize. Then there is an adorable math scene with Andred and K9, which is my favorite scene in this serial. He's just like asking K9 math questions while typing it into a calculator.
K9's coming up with it quicker than the calculator.
And so the doctor goes to work on some machinery that looks like disused washing machines. I don't know. He blows into a tube. I'm looking at it right now on the TV screen. I can't tell what any of that's supposed to be. But he does straight up blow into a tube with his mouth. This is very advanced technology. But he gets it working, then everything starts getting shaky. And the doctor says, hang on, you're nearly there. And he says, I'm sorry, what did you say? I said, hang on, you're nearly there. And that's him talking to himself. But he did it. The force field is not gone, but it has a hole in it. And the ship moves in through it. The ship that we suppose has the Vardens. And the Vardens materialize, and they are just some human-looking dudes. And Castellan is, like, very disappointed in this.
He was wanting some monsters. I think everybody was wanting some monsters.
But these are just people.
Turns out it's man.
Yeah. and I have here someone saying they're just human.
Yeah, that was
Is that
Castellan.
like a catch-all term for beings that look like what we think of as people in Gallifrey?
Maybe they are just
Maybe
Earth
just
humans.
Yeah, maybe they're just people.
from the future or something.
It is. You do think that he would say, "Oh, they just look like Time Lords."
Yeah, they're just
Or
Gallifreyans.
Gallifreyans.
Yeah.
Gallifrenians.
Gallifriends.
Gallifriends.
Gal pals.
Gallifriends being Gallifriends.
They're a letdown when you actually see the Vardens.
I like
Green
that.
dudes.
I like the reveal of they're just some guys.
They're just dudes in ill-fitting green jumpsuits.
They're
They're very sweaty too,
guys that happen to be dicks. That's how it works.
which is weird because they started off as butt plugs. K9 and Andrid go to the office, and the doctor joins them, slips away from the Vardens, shuts them out of the office, and they immediately return to Crinkle form. So Leela and the tribe show up. They come in. She tries to get into the TARDIS, can't get in. So they're like, let's go to the office, where the president's office, and they all head out there, but not before Leela gives the TARDIS a good hard kick.
Because why not? You get one free kick.
The Vardens have sort of given Castellan control for a little bit while they take care of the doctor, so that goes to his head. He's ordering guards to kill the doctor, and things are just going bad. But the doctor puts the shit of Rassilon.
He puts the shit of Rassilon all over K9.
Just covered up in that shit of Rassilon.
What I like about this scene is he's sort of like getting K9 into place, and while he does, he like hands Andrid all the Rassilon stuff, and he has this moment of reaction because like he's not supposed to be touching him.
You can't touch that.
I don't have the inflatable pillow.
Yeah, and he just sort of looks at it like, oh no. But the president gave it to him, so he's like, I guess that's fine.
K9, I noted, looked like a tiny little gold elephant.
Aww. He's got the sash.
He's got the ass of Rassilon.
The guards that Castellan sent try to open the door, but they get some arrows in the back from Leela and the tribe.
And the Varden just like nopes on out of there. He hears what's going on and he just dematerializes right then and there.
It's a really handy defense mechanism.
I love, by the way, so they're trying to get into the doctor's room,
The tribe. Leela and the tribe.
And these are people who used to, at some point, lived, like, in the city, right? But they're like, well, we gotta get in this metal door. Let's throw our fists on it. They're not, like, knocking. They're trying to break it down with their hands.
With their hands.
Like, these people should be smarter than that. I mean, Leela, I'll give that to you.
This lead Varden, by the way, looks like he should be cast as, like, a toadying isn't like the head Nazi that Indiana Jones would need to fight, but just like the one that is constantly befuddled by Indiana Jones. He's just got that weak-faced anger thing going on.
Him not being the ultimate villain should be a clue to what's about to happen. But they can't get in the door, so Andrew just opens the door, and they all just sort of tumble in and team up. They're all friends now.
And then it's over. They win. They won.
Yep.
Basically, because like K9 figures out where they come from.
Sends them all back, and like the doctor's like, "We won this one, boys."
And Leela's like, "Really? Is it that easy?" He's like, it'll be hard. And there's a whole bit where like the doctor says that Leela could be proficient at murder if she just put her mind to it. And she's like, "I don't know what proficient means." And so they all go to celebrate.
Yay!
And then,
Joy babies for all.
oh shit, Sontarans.
Oh shit, Sontarans.
So that's,
Aww.
That's like,
That needed to be my title for episode 5.
yeah.
Oh shit, Sontarans.
as the end of episode 4 is the sudden appearance of Sontarans.
Oh shit, Sontarans sounds like a not very good breakfast cereal. Like oops, all berries.
Oh shit, Sontarans. That's the end of episode 4. We're now into episode 5, which I only have one title for. Suddenly Sontarans.
That's good. That's good. What have you got?
I've got the Sontaran Strategery.
I'm gonna go with Joe again.
Yeah. But I think, though, aw shit, exclamation point, Sontaran, exclamation point, is the true winner here.
Yeah,
That's true.
I think so.
So, episode 5, aw
Oh
shit,
shit, Sontarans. They're not going to kill anybody because
not when you can use people as slaves.
they are the Sontaran Special Space Service.
This is the SSSSS.
And they use the Vardens to get in. By the way, they look like the Sontarans we've had on the show before. They're wearing the helmets. There's nothing real new about them until they take the helmets off later on. And they have a bit of an updated potato head. Not terribly updated, but it's...
I don't like when the potato head starts sprouting hair. That's
Yeah.
when it gets just, like, leave the helmet on, dude.
The other thing that I love about the helmets is that they're clearly spaced too far out based on where their eyes are. And you can just see, like, one eye through it, and you can tell that the other one's, like, in the middle of the helmet. And you're like, what? That's very... You can't see shit.
But they're like asking around, who is the doctor? And the doctor goes, shh, with his finger to his mouth. But he says, he's not the doctor, he's the president. And also, I am addressed as sir. He's very mouthy, and they shoot him for it. And then go to look for the doctor. He's not, it's just like a little shock. He's fine. But we find out that Barusa has been listening in on all this with a little green ball. And he goes into the decorated office. But when he goes in there, his little green ball stops working. So he's like, communications cannot be sent.
Oh,
or
there's
received
his
from here.
ball.
Little green ball.
My talkie ball broke.
And my noisy curtain. He returns to the main room and opens a secret drawer and twists a knob, and loud noises start playing, causing the Sontarans to freak out a bit, and everybody runs off. Everyone gets away. The doctor's like, those noises were celebration chimes, but turned up to 11. This is the scene where, like, yeah, Castellan is trying to, like, brown nose the Sontarans, but keeps getting shoved down. Like, literally, they push him down. So they're running away from the Sontarans, and Leela's like, I'm ready to kill him. And the doctor's like, you don't even know how to kill him. She's like, well, how do you kill him? They got a little vent on the back of their neck. And she chucks her knife right at the Sontaran and kills one.
I mean, never doubt Leela's ability to get stabby.
I guess the doctor at this point has just completely given up on the idea of Leela not killing people.
I think so.
He's like, this is your last one, you can have
I
it.
think he's like leaned into it at this point. He's like, I need somebody stabbed. I've got a guy.
So Castellan finally gets to say what he's going to say, which is, they're going to the president's office. Just go there. Stop chasing them. That's where they're headed to. And we get a fairly long climbing the stairs montage that goes on for far too long. And they wind up in the office, the decorated office. Like, we've not once seen these stairs the entire serial. We've never seen them travel up and down these stairs to get there. Just padding.
Also, they're like an advanced society. They don't got elevators?
Or escalators, at the very least. But they get into the office, and Barusa pulls a gun on them, as the Sontarans also arrive and start attacking the door. But the doctor like goes up, talks to them, Bruce says the gun is not for him, but maybe it's for these people you brought. And he's like, nah, it's not for you guys either.
Yeah, Bruce is just enjoying being a dick for a minute. Like, I've got a gun, and so nobody can say anything to me about it. I'm just gonna dick with these people.
I think what it is it's just payback for, like, the doctor just sort of dropping in. And he's like, I can do that too. Guess what? Am I with you? Am I against you? No, maybe. I'm just kidding. I'm with you.
And so the doctor's like, yeah, that's where I got it from.
So they're going to escape to the TARDIS through the secret door. So they all head through there. And for some reason, I don't understand this. The doctor opens the door in the office, their decorated one, and like lets the Sontarans in before running off down through the secret door. It's like the Sontarans come in and look around. First they think it's a trap that the doors are suddenly unlocked. But they bust in there and then they don't see anything. I'm like, why didn't you just leave the door shut? They would have been banging on that forever while you're just escaping. You've just let them know that you've escaped from this room somehow. I don't know why he unlocks the door. It seems like a bad move.
I feel like at some point the doctor's like, you know what, I got this, and I'm just going to set up little challenges to make it interesting for myself.
That is very in character.
Like, I could take these guys with one hand tied behind my back. I'm going to make it fun.
It's like Inigo Montoya. I'm not left-handed. The doctor tells Leela to take everyone to the TARDIS, and he is left alone with Barusa, and the doctor asks him for the key of Rassilon. And Barusa says, it's just a myth and all this. Meanwhile, a hallway shootout breaks out. People are dying. Tribe members, Sontarans, the whole lot. And the doctor is like hearing this, and he's like, people are dying. Do you not care about that? I care about that. And Barusa is like, I am unattached. I tried to train you.
Time Lord Way.
But I don't remember how he does it, but the doctor sort of tricks him into admitting that he has the key of Rassilon. Because he's like, I'm not afraid because I've got the key. Oh, shit. This has actually been in all the episodes. There's a wall of keys. It's like a little painting, I guess, that has a bunch of keys hanging on it.
He walks over and he grabs one of the keys and he hands it to the doctor, and the doctor takes it and then just tosses it. And then stares at Barusa, and then he goes and he gets the real one. Which
isn't even on the wall, it's in like a secret compartment.
I thought it was great.
I like how they're able to suggest so much history with, obviously, the Doctor, whom we've had, whom we've known for forever. But Barusa, who has been in like a story and a half.
So, Castellan says he's going to help the Sontarans with the force field. But what are they doing with the force field? Oh, because
they want to bring it down to bring like more ships and stuff in.
Yeah, because the doctor sealed it back up, right?
Yeah.
Once
so
they saved the day.
They want like the whole armada to come in and just like take everything over.
Well, everybody else has gotten to the TARDIS. The Doctor and Barusa are headed there, and they get shot out by some Sontarans, but nothing happens because that necklace that the Barusa is wearing,
the Eye of Agamotto,
has like a shield on it, but it's running low on the batteries are running low. So they book it from there and run to the TARDIS. They get in the TARDIS, the Sontarans shoot the TARDIS, which does nothing. Shooting things doesn't always work in Doctor Who. Bad guys in the unit need to learn that.
Anyone going up against the TARDIS needs to be aware that you're not going to do shit to it if you just shoot it.
But you can't just carry it away on a cart.
You would think, but no one bothers to do that.
Didn't Marco Polo. But I think that's like it.
That technology was lost to the ages.
So the doctor gives Leela the key. He asks Rodin to close the hole. I guess the hole's still there. So Rodin is working to close the hole, while Castellan is working to tear down the force field at the same time. When Rodin goes to work on the TARDIS, though, the TARDIS moans?
Rodin just has chemistry with everybody.
Oh, I didn't even look at it that way. I thought he was just worried about getting stuff done to her. So the doctor says the Sontarans are after the shit of Rassilon so that they can get all the Time Lord power. That's why the entire Sontaran battle fleet has arrived, but the force field is up. And then Castellan does a thing to the machinery, and the TARDIS shakes and is getting chucked into a black star. This is what the doctor says. We're getting chucked into a black star. And that is the end of episode 5. We're now into episode 6, which I have 2 titles for, one of which is not very relevant. Black Star, because he said it, but they immediately get out of that, like immediately. So my other title is Into the TARDIS.
Mine is I Love Leela.
I'm gonna have to go with Matt for factual accuracy.
That's fair. I would have called it Journey to the Center of the TARDIS, but that's been one.
And somehow I feel more satisfied by what we see of the TARDIS in this one than that one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna say, this episode is incredibly fillery.
But it's good.
The pace is bad, but I don't care.
Yeah, the weird thing is, like, episode 5 felt like that to me. Like, it didn't feel like anything was going on. And I think I was partly mad at it because I was like, episode 4 finished the story. We're done. Let's wrap it up and go home. And then there's still 2 episodes to go. But then this one happens, and just all manner of crazy shit occurs.
Yes.
And it's just all delightful. Like, the stakes feel incredibly lowered, but it doesn't matter because everything is just fun.
This episode reminded me a lot of the penultimate episode, or I don't know if it was the penultimate episode, that one episode in Planet of Spiders that was just the Doctor going around in different vehicles.
Yeah.
It's got that same sort of tone. It's just they're fucking around inside the TARDIS for 20 minutes.
That's like there's a bit where Leela is getting lost in the TARDIS, and the Doctor is just like delighting in the fact that she's getting lost in the TARDIS. You've got Barusa sitting by the swimming pool reading an article on the Titanic.
And the Doctor's like, I had nothing to do with that.
It's the repeated set where they just loop and loop and loop and loop is just wonderful. Oh, we've got our first.
Yeah, this is the first time we get to
Santorin.
see the potato head. He's got black lips and black around his eyes. Has that been a thing before?
I don't think so, but he's got a lot of nostrils.
Ah!
Oh, he did the lip.
He did the
lick.
tongue thing.
Oh.
So basically, what the plot is, they're locked in place. The Doctor flipped a switch and locked the TARDIS in place so it couldn't get chucked into the Black Star. But it also means they're trapped. They can't go anywhere. So the Doctor pulls some random thing out of the wall so that no one can undo the lock. And then they're going to go run into the TARDIS to hide and to plan and get things together. Because Leela had actually put everyone into the bathroom because she was supposed to take him to another room but got lost. The Doctor's like, you got lost. And she's like, maybe I got some bad directions.
Well, and at first, I think this may be one of the few times that we've seen into the TARDIS, even in this story, where, for the first time we saw the swimming pool in the very beginning. But they don't comment on the fact, at first, that they're just walking through the same room over and over and over again. And it takes Leela a minute to figure it out. And it's just wonderful to watch her.
A lot of it looks clearly like empty warehouses.
Yes, and I have a note that at one point the Santarans are walking down what looks to be my old high school's hallways.
That's accurate. I do kind of wish it looked more alien, but I also don't care. It looks great. It's just fun to have all of this inside of the TARDIS. They don't utilize that nowhere near enough. We only see the console room. It's like, it's so huge. Use it.
Yeah. I, by the way, have totally lost track of the Santarans' plot. Whatever they're supposed to be doing to do the thing that they want to do. But it doesn't matter because everything is so goddamn delightful.
I like they get super lost, and the Doctor's like, we're not lost. I know this place like the back of my hand, and looks at his palm. And like Leo flips it back over.
Oh, and she steps on his scarf, and he indignantly yanks it out from under her.
It's also a bit where Rodin's like, this place needs some redecoration, and the Doctor is very upset about this. There's a bit where he walks past a clock, taps it, goes, oh, it's running slow.
It's not a clock, it's a sundial.
That's right, it's a sundial.
That's funny.
The sundial is running slow.
And then they take a nap. They take a nap.
They do.
In the middle of the episode.
In the middle of the final episode of high action that is this season finale.
They're just sleeping. They're so casual. God.
Oh, okay. We're back. Are we still doing the...
We're doing the episode?
Oh, okay.
So K9 is charging in this room in this, I don't know.
It looks like
Workshop.
Grandpa's workshop, yeah.
And Andred is absolutely in love with K9. Andred has more chemistry with K9 than he does Leela.
Andred's talking to the camera now.
I think he said something about if K9 was in my army, he'd be lieutenant or something. I don't know the ranks.
I also love when Leela just is done with this this constant looping.
She's
TARDIS.
so sick of that
She's
one
just-
hallway that she just sits down and pouts.
The doctor finds K9 and Andred. The doctor hypnotizes Rodin and gives her the key and says, "You're going to work with K9." I don't know why he can just say, "Work with K9." I don't know
There
why
was-
he had to hypnotize her.
There was something that she knew how to do, but it was so dangerous that they basically had to make her forget it. The doctor, I think, had to hypnotize her to get it done without causing the distress of, oh no, I've just made a doomsday weapon. Because it's a super, super bad gun. Like, it takes things out of existence, I think.
Yeah, it just completely wipes them out like they never existed ever. They leave her to go make that thing, and then they go to find Barusa, who is, like you said, just chilling out at the pool.
Chilling, reading about the Titanic.
Drinking through a crazy straw.
This episode just got so insane, so fast, that it is wonderful.
They're being followed by the Sontarans. They're running out of the pool room. And, like, one of the Sontarans is, like, chasing them and jumps at them and falls.
He falls over the pool chair.
He falls over the pool chair.
Over the pool chair.
I watched the documentary. That was an accident.
Well, because
They can't see.
Right.
Because they're in the helmet.
Well, that thing Tony was talking about earlier, it's wildly apparent when there was a close-up of one of the Sontaran. You can see both eye holes. You can see into them, but only one eye.
It's a bad design. You think the Sontarans are all about war. They'd make better helmets. But they're running. They all hide behind shower curtains in this shower room. Andrew gets shot, too. Not on purpose. The Sontaran walks right past Andrew, doesn't see him. He's hiding behind the shower curtain that's not even closed. The Sontaran gets so angry, frustrated that he can't find people. He's just like, "Rawr," and starts waving his arms and shooting his gun and shoots Andred in the arm. But everybody goes back to the workshop. It's going to take everyone to the workshop. Leela goes to take everyone else away because, Andrew got shot and everything. So the doctor is in this weird plant room?
Yes, and it is a really gross tree thing.
Yeah, it's Audrey 2.
Yeah, it is.
2.
Why is
It is.
what's it doing in there?
It is disgusting.
I don't know, but the doctor starts doing bird whistles and bird noises to lure the Sontaran, who walks right inside of the plant and gets eaten by it. He's like, and the Sontaran's hand is sticking out of the mouth of the plant, and the doctor walks over to it and shakes the hand. But the main Sontaran, the lead Sontaran, whose name is Store, by the way, he gets the Sontaran out of the plant. So he's fine. Don't worry about this Sontaran who got eaten by a plant.
See, there's that disgusting
Oh my God.
raw meat tree. And he actively backs into it.
It's like it's being eaten by a cut open testicle.
No! Oh, no.
But they all meet up again and are heading to the workshop. And then they keep doing this thing they're splitting up, but they keep winding up back together because everything's all twisty-turny.
The TARDIS is basically a bunch of Scooby-Doo doors.
So Castellan and Store, because Castellan's like, I'm going to help you track them, or something. Who knows what the plot is?
Yeah.
They wind up in an art gallery.
As you do.
What's that statue called? The one without the arms?
Venus de Milo.
Yes, there's one of those, and he goes and presses a button on the statue.
He totally caught the feel on that statue's ass.
That's true.
No.
But he presses the button and everything disappears. And it's a power station. There's a thing on the wall. He takes it out of the wall, and now their tracers work, and they can find the doctor and everything. They don't have to just walk around confused.
Lead Sontaran Store's actor's name, by the way, is the wonderful Derek Deadman.
Ooh, nice. I'm pretty sure when we watched it, I was like, ooh, Derek Deadman.
That is just a wonderful name.
I am captivated by his appearance whenever he's on screen. So they make their way back to the workshop. Rodin has finished making the weapon. It's called the DMAC gun, and the key of Rassilon arms it. A Sontaran shows up. The doctor shoots the Sontaran with it, and Castellan was with him. And Leela runs to kill Castellan, but he's like, no, don't kill me. I will tell you what Store is up to, and says that he's in the Panopticon, which is that main, I guess I don't know what the Panopticon is.
It's
a
the
big
Panopticon.
It's a big plot room.
Yep, big plot room.
The room where the plot goes.
And he's going to do bad things in there, you guys. Don't kill me, says Caslin. So the Doctor leaves the TARDIS, finds Store about to drop a grenade into the Panopticon, whatever that is. Oh my god, look at that DMAC gun. It just popped up on the screen. It is huge.
It is enormous. And it looks like it's water cooled.
But he's going to, basically, if he drops a grenade in the thing, he's going to destroy the whole galaxy and all the Time Lords and the Centauran Black Battle Fleet. But he's like, it's worth it. So
yeah, what was the reasoning again? Okay.
I don't know. Just to kill the Doctor, I guess? Kill the Time Lords? But, like, they wanted the power of Rassilon. They're not going to get that if they kill everybody. But the Doctor shoots Store with the gun. Everything goes white, and the Doctor passes out. And the gun is gone, leaving only the key.
It's a self-cleaning gun.
No trace of the murder weapon.
Leaves only a fresh scent of pine.
Back in the workshop, Leela hears some heavy footsteps, but it's just the Doctor. But the Doctor doesn't seem to remember anything. But they do. Why doesn't he?
I didn't understand that.
Because apparently Store got erased from existence, like any memory of him. But
right, because that was
is
the
it
whole
because he
point
was
of it.
closest to the gun?
I seem to remember thinking, I don't understand this, and then, like, my brain made up a reason to understand it, but I didn't take a note on that. So, I want to say maybe there was something to do with, like, proximity to it or something, where, because the Doctor was the one that used it,
But
like,
does
it
show...
gave a little bit of feedback to where it just, like, made him forget what happened.
Yeah, it does show when he shoots that there's like this beam of light and then it goes outward and the Doctor's hit with it.
Yeah.
So I guess that's part of it.
Because the gun is gone, the key is left, but the gun's gone. So there's obviously some sort of spill back.
But the day is saved. Again.
We're real this time.
And it's time to leave. And Leela's like, no, I'm going to stay with Andred because we are in love.
My one true love, whom I have shared upwards of 2 scenes with.
Let's see. There was the scene where she gets ready and he's like, don't kill people.
He steals her knife back.
The scene where he bumps into her in the hallway and says, I'm not going to kill you. Good luck out there. And then there's the scene where he gets shot in the arm in the shower.
And she really cares about his arm at that point.
Yeah. They bonded then.
Yeah, because even the Doctor is surprised by, like, oh, you're not coming with me?
Who the fuck is this guy?
Sure. I mean, I liked him enough to give him some jelly babies earlier, so I guess he's cool, but...
The kicker to me is that K9's like, yeah, me too. And the Doctor's like, oh, that's fine. It's just my best friend and my second best friend. That's cool. No, it's fine. It's good. Okay, I'll just be alone, I guess.
I do like, though, when she says she's staying with Andred, and the Doctor's like, oh, good. She'll look after Andred. Instead of the other way around, which it normally would be. And then K9 says he's going to stay to look after Leela. Yeah, he's all alone now.
Also, it should not have been nearly as sweet as it was, but when he says, I'll miss you too, Savage, it does come across as that he genuinely cares for her.
Yeah.
And is sad that the plot has dictated that she is staying on Gallifrey with his dog. Leela and K9 don't even particularly like each other. We started the serial with him pouting because she said something to him.
And then the weirdest thing happens. The Doctor pushes a box into the TARDIS, and it's labeled K9 Mark II.
Well, he ordered it from Kablam.
Right.
And it just now arrived. Which is why when K9 decides to stay, he's like, I got another one of you. I can make another one of you.
Why does he look right at the camera and, like, he giggles? He giggles.
Oh, it's unsettling.
Yes.
Is it just him and K9 for a minute?
I don't know.
No, because the next one kicks off the Key of Time series.
Oh, okay.
So that's the end of the Invasion of Time.
We did it.
Get another one.
The time has been invaded.
We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back for final thoughts.
Hey, it's Sean from the Soul Forge podcast. Join me and the gang as we guide you through the adventures of living. Topics include sex, loss, joy, and stupid things we've done for love. It's life, the universe, and everything. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, the ESO Network, SoulForgePodcast.com, and everywhere else you find podcasts. The Soul Forge Podcast. Let's find out together.
And we're back. Tony, do you know what time it is?
Hang on, let me get my phone. I can look and see.
Oh, I thought we were past this.
It is
I thought we were
9:22.
not doing this anymore.
That is the time
we're
that
still doing this.
it currently is. Is there anything else you would like to know?
In the Eastern time zone.
That's true.
Now, it's different times other places.
Would you like me to tell you what it is in other time zones? Because that information is available to me, and I can share it with you.
What time is it in the podcast time zone?
That is still the Eastern time zone. It's still 9:22.
What do we do with this?
The podcast isn't in a separate time zone
What?
than the one we are currently in.
You don't know that. Maybe it is. What do we do at this point in the podcast?
We go home. We did it. It's over.
This is the first time you said go home, and that is legitimately a true thing because we are at Matt's house.
Brought to you on location.
What time is it?
It's time for final thoughts.
Final thoughts.
I think, give or take in episode 5, this was a fantastic serial. The first 4 parts hang together great. I'm still a little fuzzy on why the Vardens were threatening enough for the Doctor to undergo this whole plot rigmarole. Because it did seem that when the Sontarans showed up, he was legitimately surprised that they were behind this. Even after the Varden plot was put to bed, that last episode the crazy just climbed and climbed and climbed, and it was a wonderful, fun way to wrap up the season. I'm still a little sad that Leela got written off in the time-dishonored tradition of Doctor Who getting tired of writing for a particular female companion and marrying her off randomly, because of all of the companions, that's the least Leela way to go off. Mm. But, I mean, for a one-off character, Andred was fun. So, at least she didn't just pick an even more random Time Lord. I have had thoughts after the serial that I hope she and Andred and Kanan were not still in Gallifrey when it was destroyed / time locked. Mm. But yeah, this was a great story, and it's one of the most fun final episodes that I've seen in a long time.
I love this serial. It was great. I thought it was really, it starts off very intense and very confusing. The way that the Doctor is behaving is so concerning that you're like, this threat must be really bad. And might not totally, pay off. I mean, I do kind of like the idea of a 6-parter kind of ending. You're like, oh, great, everything's good. And, you have that shock and surprise of, no, actually, it's not. That initial twist, it kind of gets lost in the weeds a little bit in that 5th episode. But the 6th episode is fun. I love seeing more of the TARDIS. I'm always complaining that we don't get to see more of the inside of the TARDIS. So the fact that it's just, got random pools and just Renaissance art with park benches with white patio furniture all around. That's great. That's amazing. I loved the side characters in this one, Andred and Roden. I really love Roden, and I really do think that Leela and Roden had more chemistry. But I love Andred. It was a fun character. Yeah, I really enjoyed this one.
Barusa too.
Yeah, Barusa too.
Yeah. What you guys said. I liked a lot of it. I do think the last 2 episodes are probably weaker in some respects. Even the TARDIS episode, I think, has some pacing issues. But I love being in the TARDIS. I wish they did that more often now. That it's bigger on the inside, but we only see so little of it.
I kind of like the idea that the inside of the TARDIS is just a collection of totally random ass rooms.
Yes.
None of them fit together aesthetically or even temporally. they just all sort of exist, and you can go from an art gallery to a high school hallway just by passing through it.
Yes, bring that back. Yeah. That's what I say. Do it.
The overall structure of this one is really weird because you start out, like Tony said, super intense, and you decrease the level of intensity and the threat as you go. Like, it doesn't build up to something huge. It just gets progressively more insane. And it works great.
Because you got, like, the Vardens, and, like, the way the Vardens are defeated is kind of... Well, first they show up, and it's underwhelming.
Yeah.
And then the way they're defeated is underwhelming. And then it's like, oh shit, Sontarans! And then the Sontarans are just kind of there. And then it's, we're hanging out in the TARDIS. We're taking naps. In the last episode.
Literally. There's a nap break.
All in all, though, I liked it. I like seeing more of Gallifrey. The Doctor's acting is great in this one. Like, those first few episodes when you're not sure what the hell he's doing. And, like, the first episode ends with him, like, maniacally laughing as, like, these bad guys come in. Which I'm pretty sure... Okay, so you said you're not sure, like, why he's so frightened of the Vardens and all that. Maybe he's not so much. Maybe he just wants to fuck with the Gallifreyans a little bit.
Totally within character. And he's like, I'm president, and I've never decided to fuck with him over it. So this is a good opportunity for that. I'm going to go back, and I'm going to just be a dick at him.
That sounds like the
That's
Doctor.
the Doctor. He's the dictator.
But yeah, I love this one. The dialogue is great. Everything's really good. The TARDIS stuff is so much fun. Yeah. And I kind of enjoyed that this season starts with Horror of Fang Rock, which has one of the actors played Bruce in Enemy of the World. And this serial, the last serial, has another person from Enemy of the World in it. The sleazy slimeball. Castellan played a sleazy slimeball in Enemy of the World. And, like, Enemy of the World is, like, one of my favorite serials. So, like, it's very memorable to me, those characters. And then, like, they're back. They're, like, bookending this season. So, I like that a lot. It's just a weird little thing that probably only I care about. But I like that. But, yeah, that's it. That's our thoughts. So,
we did it.
I also want to point out that time didn't really get invaded.
That's true.
Like, but that to me feels like the Time Lords, being pretentious dicks, are like, Gallifrey is time itself. So I could totally see them doing that.
Yeah. That makes sense. I didn't even think about the title. I rarely think about the titles sometimes. But, alright, so anything you want to plug?
Well, there's this Unseen World thing. Again, follow us on Facebook.
Yep.
Facebook.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. See Unseen World.
That's S-E-E. Yeah, the letter C.
Yeah.
S-E-E.
See
That
Unseen
question
World.
surprises me every time I get it.
That's never come up to me before in my brain.
I have been asked it twice. It's C-S-E-E.
I mean, I guess you could go there. You're not going to get anything. But yeah, it's the Unseen World, and we're bringing it to you so you can see it. So our show is destructive.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, shining a light on it and then just throwing it away.
What are some of the locations that are going to be featured?
I said Howard Finster's The History of Oak Ridge, Tennessee, and The History of the Manhattan Project is another thing that we talk about.
Rock City,
Apple Valley Garden. I don't want to tell you all of them.
Right.
Watch it.
It's a surprise.
Yeah.
And most of the episodes have 2 stories. So if you tune in and for some reason you don't like the first story,
which you will.
Screw you. But no, we usually break the episodes into 2 stories. So the first half will be one site. The second half will be another site. So there's something for everybody.
Yeah.
And hey, if you guys know of any cool places, let us know.
Always send them to me. I've had a couple of people who are like, you probably know about this, but... And then they'll, like, really, like, sheepishly tell me. I always want to know, because, like, that's how we found so many of them. Is we go and we do one interview, and the person we're interviewing is like, have you checked this out yet? And then, like, we go to that place. And then once we go to that place, like, have you thought about doing this? And, like... If you have, like, something cool that you think we should feature, like, reach out.
Almost never when somebody has come to us and said, I'm sure you already know about this, but what about this spot? almost never have I heard of that spot.
Yeah.
Like, it's old news to them,
Because
but
they
it's
live there, and that's
totally new to us, and that's why we're trying to bring them.
that's part of the whole idea. It's like what's out by you. It's like, oh yeah, well there's that. Like when we were doing the Mothman thing, and no, it was Flatwoods, and the guy was talking about how everybody kind of has a local cryptid, and I was like, oh, ours is just Green Eyes, but that's boring. And he's like, that sounds cool. He's like, but nobody thinks what's out by them is cool because it's out by them. So
yeah, you live with it. It's just that thing over there.
yeah,
It exists. It's fine. Whatever.
That's our town robot.
Yeah.
we did a show.
Yeah, the unseen world. See it.
See the unseen world. If you liked this episode of Watch-A-Thon of Rassilon, you can check out more on WatchYourRassilon.com. Be sure to rate and comment on our iTunes. It does iTunes magic.
It helps more people see us in the iTunes search results. The more reviews we have, the more people see us. So please and thank you to anybody who's already done it. We really appreciate it.
iTunes magic. If you'd like to help us out even more, you can go to WatchYourRassilon.com/support, and there you'll find a link to our Patreon page, which you can get to just by going to patreon.com/Watch-A-Thon. And there you can donate a monthly amount to get all kinds of cool rewards, like day early episodes, uncut video of the podcast records, bonus episodes, and live streams where we watch the episodes with you guys. Also on our support page is a link to our Amazon wish list where you can sponsor an episode of the podcast by purchasing the corresponding serial on DVD for us. We'll mention you in the podcast and put your name on our Friends of Rassilon page. Speaking of, special thanks again to Matt Golden for sponsoring this episode.
Hey, thanks, Matt.
You're welcome.
You can follow him on Tumblr at mgoldentumbles.tumblr.com. Is that where you want us to be promoting you?
Well, there was kind of a Tumblr apocalypse that happened ago, but you can always go to medium.com/@mgolden.
Okay.
That's the letter M, Golden, for Matt.
I don't know what to do now. That threw me up a little bit. I'm so used to our pattern.
Well, see, this is a season finale, so it's the perfect time for change.
You know, the whole next season, we're not going to be mentioning your name because we got the Key of Time set from Bisexual Brigadier. So
We're retiring Matt after this season.
You came on and now you're done. No more.
Look, I really love Andrew, and I think it's important that I stay. I want you to go on without me, but I'll be here with my dog.
I do want to also give a special shout out to Vincent E.L. for providing us with our theme song.
Thanks, Vince.
You can check out more of their stuff at swinglish.nu. And tune in next time when we talk about the ribose, or possibly the ribose, or some other variation thereupon. Operation!
I think it's pronounced Rybos.
The rye bread operation with, we're going to have two guests, Felicity Cousinets, who's been on the show before, and Chris Cherry, who I don't know at all.
Yeah, never heard of him.
Well,
Oh man, that'll be a fun one. That's a good group.
For now, keep calm and wrestle on.
Goodbye, and I love you.
Farewell.
I will miss you.
I'll miss you too, Savage.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping through Amazon.com or the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.